Well, guys, I just thought I'd give you a little bit of an update here. Welcome back, first of all. I'm still sick, and this countershaft is really fighting me. And I'll kind of show you what we're working with. Let me grab a flashlight here, make it better to see. But this is the countershaft nut. So this is that coupler that drives the hydraulic pump. And as you can see, this thing is in absolutely horrible shape because of me. But let me justify this, okay? So, as you guys know, I have, from the M, I have this tool that Damian helped me make. It's a large nut that's been plug welded to a piece of key stock, and that fits into the groove for that coupler. So that's what the coupler looks like, and the nut fits in here with the key stock, and you hit it with an impact and it comes right off, usually. This is an entire bottom shaft that I got from Gottwald Implement up in Hillman, Minnesota. That's where I got that replacement case from that you guys saw over there. So we got an entire bottom shaft, but I don't think that shaft is going to be usable. The threads on the end of it, although this does turn on and off, I'll show you here. They're pretty marred up. I don't know if you can really see that, but they're in pretty rough shape. But at least we got the gears, the bearing, and I also picked up a differential pinion carrier, a pinion shaft with bearing. We've got another reverse idler. So this coupler also, if you can see that, it's starting to separate a little bit on both sides. Plus it's got some pretty good grooves worn into it. Now these you can buy from Case International, but they're like $150 for one of these. So I'm going to try to find a used one, as well as a used countershaft and the front seal carrier as well, because this one just completely melted when I was trying to heat that up. But I tried everything on this to get this thing loose, and some people think that this is reverse thread. It is not reverse thread. It is regular standard thread. So to turn it off, it's counterclockwise. Okay, now I tried heating it with the oxyacetylene torch red hot. I'll put a photo of that here. I tried that 3 times. I used plenty of spray lubricant. I've tried an air hammer and chisel when the coupler was still intact. I tried a regular dead blow hammer and chisel. I tried a pipe wrench on here, and then a pipe wrench on the inside here, the casting wedged against the actual transmission casting. I tried everything to get that thing to turn off, and it would not move. So my guess is something happened, because this thing did not have a hydraulic pump in it when I got it, and I'm guessing something happened, some type of critical failure in the hydraulic pump that locked everything up and tightened this thing on the end of the shaft so tight that I can't get it off. I mean, I've even cut this thing and notched it to try to split that collar. What I ended up doing was I burned those those drive dogs off the end with the torch. And I split this thing with the die grinder, and I still can't get it off. So I don't know what is going on, but I'm trying not to damage the shaft, because I'd like to reuse the shaft if I can, but I don't know if that's going to happen. And the bearing too, I'd like to reuse the bearing, because the bearing is very nice. It's very tight yet. So I'm kind of at a loss here. I don't know what to do to try to save this shaft. But gosh, I mean, I don't know what to do here. So I'm going to try and keep splitting it and maybe take it off in a bunch of chunks. But the big thing is I don't want to cut into the threads on that shaft with the die grinder. So it's going to have to be something that I just meticulously and carefully do to try to salvage that shaft. But otherwise we're going to have to get a different countershaft, because I really don't trust the threads on the end of that one, and I need to find a different drive dog, because I don't like the way that one's already splitting apart. I mean, I worked so long on that thing, on these on these drive dogs, trying to get that thing loose, that these things were just starting to kind of fold away. See if I can get it to stand up. They were starting to just peel right off. So I finally said, you know, to heck with it, and I just burned them off with the torch. And that way I at least was able to see if I could get the entire assembly off. But the only way that you can get this thing out, from what I've seen, is you have to drive it forward, so both bearings have to come forward. And when you get this collar out, or collar off, this bearing comes off this side, then you slide the shaft backwards, then you take the rear bearing off through the back side here, and then you can kind of bring the shaft back, tilt it up, and then bring the whole assembly out. That's the only way that I can see this thing coming out, because if you've seen this shaft, if I had it disassembled, there's several steps, so you can't just slide the gears off the shaft as you slide the shaft out. Everything has to come out as a unit, and then it all has to come apart on the bench. So that's kind of where we're at. I mean, we're 2 steps forward and still kind of 1 step back, because we got to get that shaft out, and I hope we can save it. But if not, we're going to have to get a shaft, a coupler, and a seal carrier. So yeah, it is what it is. You know, what do you do? I want to give a huge shout out to Jim in Texas, by the way. He sent us a brand new 3rd and 4th drive gear and 4th, 5th sliding gear. So he had an H he was working on, and he decided he didn't want to dive too far into the transmission, and had already bought brand new gears for the inside. So he donated those to the project, and I got to give a huge shout out to Jim. Thanks a lot. They're inside on the kitchen counter, which probably drives my wife nuts, but I just haven't taken them down into the shop here yet. So also another big shout out to Owen. I didn't even remember mentioning it, but I guess in one of the previous videos I mentioned about having a small putty knife for scraping, and he sent me a small putty knife. So thank you, Owen, as always. There's more contributions as far as tools in this shop that I don't even know how to say thank you for. So that's kind of where we're at. I'm trying to kick this sickness still, and you know, we're kind of down to the wire here on the old warm weather. It's probably only about 35-40 degrees right now, so there's not going to be much wrenching in here probably once it hits, you know, snow time, or more snow I should say. We've already had a couple snowfalls, but you know, that's going to slow down significantly because I don't have a heated garage. So yeah, I'll just kind of give you a little panoramic shot. This is what This is what an H looks like in about 500 pieces. So this is pretty much everything from, well, you got the front pedestal and the engine there, but everything here is from the rear end. So it's a daunting task, but the good thing is all the parts are large parts, and it's really not that bad. This is the furthest I've ever been into a tractor. I've never taken axles off or bull gears out. I've had on the John Deere, I've had the top shaft and bottom shafts out, and that wasn't too bad either. But yeah, this is by far the furthest I've ever been. So, oh yeah, that's right. There's all these shelves. That's all parts. Let's see, those two boxes. That's new tubes for the rear tires. You got the hydraulic pump. That box there is all new parts, clutch parts, you know, lights and all kinds of stuff. Most of this stuff is just body mounts or like fuel tank supports, PTO shield, rear tank support. This is your center steering support with your gauge mount, starter, radiator. This bin is all like your light box and wiring and starter switch, carburetor. You got your seat. There's the one from Connor at This Old Farm. This is the hood, the new fuel tank that was donated by Ryan, same guy that donated the wheel weights over there. Up there is the grill. That's the old fuel tank, which is, I mean, it's still usable. It's just, it's got that big repair on the top that would really hamper a nice paint job. So we got the battery box. That's the block for the D that I got from my friend Sean. Frame rails for the H. I got the air cleaner, the brake covers with the bands. Oh yeah, we still got to order brake bands. This is the new steering sector, or worm gear and shaft, I should say. And behind that's the old worm gear and shaft. You got your drive shaft, your clutch lever, your throw-all bearing and carrier, drawbar, platform. This is the PTO assembly and the belt pulley drive itself. That's the belt pulley housing. These are just gears and shafts that I've had soaking and trying to clean them up, but we're gonna end up bringing them down to my cousin's shop anyways to use in his parts washer, and then we'll bring the castings down to use in the steam cleaner. So we've got a lot of stuff, you know, laid out and ready, but it's just this transmission countershaft is really holding us up. So once we get that out, though, we can take the casting down, or the old casting can go to the scrap yard, and then the new casting can go down to be steam cleaned with the torque tube, and maybe disassemble the axle housings. I'm not sure if that's really necessary, though. We could probably just bring them to the self-serve car wash and clean them off that way. But it's you know, we're really close to final reassembly. It's just we got to get that countershaft out, so, or figure out how we're gonna salvage one out of another tractor that's good. So I've got some lines out right now to a friend of mine. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what he's got. But anyways, that's kind of what we're updated with right now. So I hope you guys enjoy, and hopefully I can get over this sickness. You know, I've been off work for 12 days on vacation, and I've been sick for 7 of the last 12. So sometimes it's just how it goes, though. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. Maybe if I get some time, I'll try and get that coupler off the end of that shaft, or what's left of it. But because as soon as that comes off, we can get those bearings off and take the shaft out. So, but anyways, I'll talk to you guys later, and hopefully hopefully we can make some more progress. All right.